Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTG Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Rakdos Pirates. Alright guys, this is Rakdos Pirates. It's a red-black pirate deck that's going to be built with the new tools of Ixalan in the deck. It's a pirate tribal theme, so the main theme of the deck is to get in fast, hit hard, do a lot of damage really quickly, and get a win with pirates by plundering their life points. But of course, before I get into the deck, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell to make sure you know when we upload a video or when we go live for the stream. So appreciate it guys, let's get right into the deck tech. First up, we have 4 Bromat Courier. This is not a pirate, but a 1-mana 1/1 haster that can actually refill your hand in the mid to late game is important for us. This is a great way to make sure we have some steam going in the mid to late game if our opponent does not deal with the Courier. It could also be a good magnet for removal as well if we have to wait for a turn 2 or 3 pirate to come down to make our board a little bit more solvent. So Bromat Courier is important for that. But moving up from the Courier, we have 4 Deadeye Tracker. It's a 1 black mana 1/1 human pirate. You can pay 1 colorless and 1 black mana, tap it, exile 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Deadeye Tracker explores. So this is an interesting mechanic for us because it does a multiple of things. The first of which is it is a turn 1 play or a mid to late game play that is still viable in that it can actually exile cards from an opponent's graveyard, meaning a Godfell's Gift deck or any kind of Entomb or Embalm deck has an ability of getting exiled or shut down thanks to a 1-drop Deadeye Tracker. The secondary ability it has is it explores. It can also look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, it goes into your hand. If it's not, you can put it on the top or into your graveyard. So it's a great way of filtering through your deck early so you can make sure to stack your deck properly so you can get in for more damage turn over turn. So it's a great way of drawing cards and or setting up your deck for future plays. But moving on from Deadeye Tracker, we have 4 Rigging Runner. This is another 1-drop 4 of. It's a 1/1 with first strike, but if we attack with another creature that turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it if you attacked with the creature this turn. That's really great for our attack curve and really great, especially because we have Metallic Mimic in the deck as well. So this could be a turn 3 play and going to be a 3/3 first striker for 1 mana. So that's insane. First strike is something to not overlook, and I actually don't mind playing this on turn 1 as well because I think first strike is relevant enough to do that. But I would want to be playing this on turn 2 or turn 3, preferably if we have a Metallic Mimic on board so it gets an additional counter on top of it. So I think that's amazing. But again, by the first 12 creatures you're already seeing, this is a deck that wants to get in fast, wants to hit hard, and wants to do as much as it possibly can with as little mana as possible. Moving on, we have 4 Direfleet Captain. This is a 1 red, 1 black, 2/2 orc pirate. This is basically the reason we're running Rakdos. Whenever Direfleet Captain attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other attacking pirate. Direfleet Captain is insanely powerful. Do not overlook this guy. Especially when we have 12 other creatures in the deck that are 1-drops. If we're playing those out on turn 1 and 2, and this is coming out on turn 3 and swinging in, or turn 2 swinging in on turn 3, that's amazingly powerful. When I was playtesting with this guy, he was actually trading with dinosaurs for like 5/5 and 6/6 because of how wide our board went, thanks to how cheap the pirates are in general. Direfleet Captain is amazing. It's probably going to be a magnet for removal after game 1, after they realize how powerful it is. So make sure to kind of be aware of that. But Direfleet Captain is super good, guys. I mean, just ridiculous. Moving on from Direfleet, we have 3 Fathom Fleet Captain. It is 1 colorless, 1 black mana for a 2/1 human pirate with menace. And whenever it attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2 colorless and create a 2/2 black pirate creature with menace. So there's only 3 of them in this deck because it's not as like intuitive and useful as you would think it would be. It is a mana sink, so that's the issue with it. But I do like it a lot in that if you're attacking out on turn 3 or turn 4, and Fathom Fleet can make a 2/2 with menace, I think that's incredibly important. I think menace is a great mechanic, especially early in the game when they're trying to get their board like settled. So against a control matchup or any kind of matchup where they're going to be a little bit slow in getting out their creatures, this is going to be a card that's going to just bulldoze them. But again, keep in mind it is a mana sink, so it is one of those cards where if you need a mana open, you probably won't be using its ability as often. But a 2/1 for 2 with menace is decent. Moving up from the Fathom though, we have EV Skyship Raider. This is a 2 mana 1/3 with first strike menace, and of course it makes the 2/1 monkey. This is from Aether Revolt, so you guys know it well by now. But it is a pirate, so it does get the Metallic Mimic buff. It does have some pirate buffs with Direfleet Captain. It's a great aggressive card by itself, so don't be afraid to make sure to swing out with these guys turn over turn because they are incredibly useful. And of course the last 2-drop we have 4 Metallic Mimic. This is going to be your creature you name as a pirate. It comes down and gives all your other creatures +1/+1 counters, makes your creatures a lot larger, and it can also be a good magnet for removal if you need it to be. The best part about the Mimic, of course, is the Rigging Runner combo, as well as a Deadeye Tracker. Anything like that that's a 1-drop that can come down really quickly and be really powerful. A Deadeye Tracker, if it comes down and doesn't hit a land, it's an automatic 3/3 for 1, so that's incredibly powerful too. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're lining up your plays. So Metallic Mimic is powerful, it's really great in this deck. deck, and I think it's here to stay. If you don't have your copies of Metallic Mimic, make sure you get them early, because they're going to be going up in price. I can just tell you that right now. And the last two creatures in the deck, we have two Hazoret the Fervent. So the deck is incredibly quick. We have 28 creatures in total, this being the top end of our curve. You're going to actually run out of cards very quickly because you're trying to attack out as quickly as possible. This is an aggressive deck, so playing out a Hazoret the Fervent with 0 cards in hand or 1 card in hand is very, very likely. So Hazoret the Fervent is super useful in this deck and can be a great way to close out a match or be able to block against a nice aggressive strategy like a Dinosaur Tribal deck. But again, that is all the creatures. We have 28 in total. Moving on, we actually have 2 Planeswalkers in the deck, and they're probably the reason the deck is a little more expensive. We have 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance, a 4-mana 4/2 counter. Planeswalker is amazing in the set, and Chandra has 4 abilities, and they're all really relevant in helping us either drive our opponent to dust, ping an opponent's creature to the graveyard, or give us more mana so we can play out more spells in a single turn. Her first +1 helps us draw some extra cards, play out some extra pirates. Her second +1 gives us extra mana to play those pirates. Her -3 deals with a really large creature we need dealt with, and her ultimate is amazingly powerful. So if you get to the ultimate, you're going to be winning the match, but if not, her +1s and -3s are great enough as it is. Do keep in mind though that if you do play this on curve, it's probably going to die to some sort of removal spell. So just make sure that you know that that's going to be happening, and if you want that to happen, I would absolutely be playing Chandra Torch of Defiance to make sure that you get a removal spell sent to it instead of a creature on your side of the field. So that could be a way to use Chandra as well. But moving on to the rest of the spells, we have 2 Fatal Push in the deck. Of course, this is a great removal card, and it's really good at dealing with other aggressive strategies, as well as any kind of Explore or Pirate strategy, since a lot of the pirates in the actual set are kind of cheap. But if you're up against a Dinosaur strategy, Fatal Push is probably the first 2 cards to come out of your deck. Next up for Fatal Push, we have 1 Abrade in the deck. We have 2 in the sideboard, but 1 in the main board just in case we need some artifact removal. But I think Abrade is great just for the 3 damage itself. So Abrade is great for removal, and it's great for artifact removal. So fantastic card in general. Moving on from that, we have 2 Lightning Strike. Of course, Lightning Strike is in Ixalan now, so Lightning Strike deals 3 damage to the dome or to a target creature. So it's really great at getting in on an opponent or trading with a creature or being able to kind of like finish off an opponent if they only have 3 life left. Being able to Lightning Strike and Remnant Runes in the same turn is really good if you do have the 7 mana open in the mid to late game. So just think about that while you're using it. And the last 2 cards in the deck besides land are 2 Unlicensed Disintegration. Because we're in Rakdos, we can play Unlicensed Disintegration, and this card is so nice. Keep in mind we have 8 artifacts in the deck thanks to the Bowmount Courier and the Metallic Mimic, so the Unlicensed Disintegration's secondary ability of dealing 3 damage to target creature's controller is actually pretty relevant and can go off pretty frequently. But overall, Unlicensed Disintegration is a great on-curve removal card and helping to deal with any kind of dinosaurs or any kind of big threat that we want out of the way. But again, if we're up against some sort of control strategy or some sort of strategy with hexproof, then Unlicensed Disintegration is coming out and other cards are coming in to fill its place. But that is it for everything in the deck. Let's go over the lands real quick. We have 4 Dragonskull Summon. Of course, the buddy lands are back in Ixalan, so that's amazing. But Dragonskull Summon is a great buddy land if we play a swamp or a mountain, or it can just come in tapped, but it is a great dual land as well for us. Moving on, we have 2 If Near Dead lands. This is a great removal card for us, as well as giving us black mana if we need it. But the primary purpose of this is to make sure that we can, in the early to mid game, make sure we can just either ping down some powerful creature to a creature we can deal with, or just get rid of a creature altogether. So If Near Deadlands is great for that. Moving on from If Near Deadlands, we have 4 Remnant Ruins. This is a great win condition here. We have 7 deserts in total in the deck, so Remnant Ruins is a great way to either sack a If Near Deadlands, sack a Scavenging Grounds, which is the next card we're going to be dealing with, or sack a Remnant Ruins itself and deal 2 damage to the dome, just in case in the mid to late game they have a lot of creatures in the way and we want to just ping them down for damage. Moving on from this, we have 1, of course, Scavenging Grounds, as I mentioned. This is a great way to lock down any kind of graveyard strategy, any kind of Godfield's Gift deck, any kind of Embalm and Tomb, that kind of stuff. Scavenger Grounds is great at doing that, and I would highly recommend always putting at least 1 in any kind of deck you're running in the standard format. And lastly, for non-basic lands, we have 4 Unclaimed Territory. Of course, this is the one you can name a creature type and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool to spend on that creature type. So we name pirates, we can spend red or black mana with the Unclaimed Territory. And the only other cards in the deck that are not pirates are 8 artifacts, and then Hazoret the Fervent, of course, which just needs 1 red mana. So by the time we get to 4 mana, we should have 1 red mana available at least. And of course, the last lands in the deck are 4 mountain and 4 swamp, and that is the full 60. So it's a very aggressive strategy, super low curve, and it has the ability to kind of just be explosive in the early game and kind of get a win as soon as possible. But let's say game 1 didn't go too well, and we need some sort of like life gainer or some sort of removal for a Glorybringer, or maybe something to battle a Glorybringer, or maybe something to kill a larger creature. Let's kind of go over the sideboard real quick and just see what I kind of did. Starting at the 1 mana slot, we have 2 Chandra's Defeat. This is going to be a card that's going to kill a Chandra, it's going to be able to kill a Glorybringer, it's going to be able to kill any kind of large dinosaur for us as well that's in red, or or red-green, Gruul as well. Remember, there are a lot of dinosaurs in the Naya dinosaurs that are just red-green, so Chandra's Defeat is going to be able to deal 5 damage to them, so keep that in mind. But moving on from Chandra's Defeat, we have 2 Magma Spray. This is going to be a great card to deal with a Scrap Heap Scrounger, any kind of Entomb or an Eternalized creature that you know they're going to deal with in the following turn, so anything like a Earthshaker Kinra, things like that. The mirror matchup against a Roundup Red deck or something like that is going to be a situation where you want to pull in Magma Spray, so it's very important, and I think it's also important if you want to just be able to do some extra damage to be able to trade for a creature. So keep that in mind as well. But moving on from Magma Spray, we have 2 more Abrade. Again, artifact removal is incredibly important in our format, and we want to make sure that we have it in our sideboard at least. We have 1 in the main board, but having 2 more in the sideboard is a great way of making sure that we can deal with artifacts as they come out on the board, and we're not super behind whenever they do start to overwhelm us. Abrade is a great card as well, just to ping our opponent's creatures for 3 points of damage as well, so keep that in mind too, but Abrade is just a great all-around card. I'm so happy that they printed this. Moving on from this, we have 2 Sorcerer Spyglass. Now this is one of the situations where this might depend on your meta, since this is a sideboard, so Sorcerer Spyglass might be replaced with a Lost Legacy and a Dispossess, or 2 Sorcerer Spyglass depending on what you're playing up against. So I put Sorcerer Spyglass here since it's new, and in Ixalan it's nice and shiny and pretty, but I might want to split this up into 1 Sorcerer Spyglass and 1 Dispossess, something like that. But I think it's a very good card, and I think, you know, having a Pithing Needle with a peak ability is great. But moving on from Sorcerer Spyglass, we have 2 Aethersphere Harvester. This is our creature that can crew and have flying and has lifelink, so a great way to kind of be able to block in the early game, being able to get some lifelink damage in as well as get some life back from it, and being able to block a Glorybringer if they have one swinging at our face. So Aethersphere Harvester does a lot of stuff. It can block a Hearted Kieran as well. It's super great for us, and it's really great if we have the utility to get into it in the mid to early game. And moving on from that, we have 2 Sweltering Suns. Now there is Fiery Cannonade in Ixalan, which deals 2 damage to every non-pirate creature. The problem was that it was dealing 2 damage and not 3, so Sweltering Suns deals 3 damage to everything on the battlefield, and that can kill, of course, anything on the battlefield, most likely, except for the mid to late game when they have their big bombs on the field. So keep Sweltering Suns as an idea if you're up against a large token-based strategy. I think it's going to be very important for that kind of matchup. But moving on from Sweltering Suns, we have 2 Glorybringer. I could not forget them. And then, of course, in these new deck techs, I'm not going to be just kind of being strictly just, oh, these are going to have to be pirates. I'm going to say, okay, well, this is a pirate-themed deck, but it needs some utility cards like Glorybringer or the Bomat Courier or the Metallic Mimic to make sure that the deck is all working cohesively, and I think Glorybringer is a great pick here for that. It's a 5-mana 4/4 flying haste. They can also ping an opponent's creature for 4 points of damage. I think that's amazingly powerful, and against a strategy where you're trying to get in as often as you can, Glorybringer is a great way to close out a match quickly. And of course, the last card in the deck, we have 1 Hour of Devastation. Hour of Devastation is here. It might actually be a 2 of depending on the dinosaur meta you run into at your local FNM or on MTGO. Which is where I'm pricing these from. Hour of Devastation is a great way to deal with any kind of indestructible creatures, of course, for gods, but also deal with any kind of large threats like dinosaurs or large pirates if they get up in points. I think if you're running red, Hour of Devastation is a no-brainer to have because it's a great way to wipe the board of planeswalkers that you don't like or creatures that you don't like. It's awesome. But that is the full 75 on MTGO Traders. It's coming to around 165 tickets if you look up there, actually up here. But let me know what you think of the deck. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear back from you. I always try to comment back as often as I can. But again, guys, like the video if you liked it, and of course, subscribe to MTGO Traders for more content like this in the future. Make sure to hit that little bell as well next to the subscribe button to have the videos ping your phone or ping your account, so whenever we upload a new video or go live on stream. So I appreciate it, guys. I'll have more deck techs just like this to you the rest of this week as well as next week. I'll see you guys in the next video.